you an expert, entrepreneur, or small business owner passionate about helping people through life's transitions? The Fresh Starts Expert membership is perfect for you. For just $55 per month, this dynamic membership is designed to boost your business and amplify your brand. Fresh Starts is here to provide you with business development, marketing, coaching, networking, publicity, community engagement, and more. With an SEO-optimized profile, exclusive press opportunities, and weekly co-working and business coaching sessions, you'll connect, grow, and gain visibility like never before. Are you ready to elevate your brand? We can't wait to work with you. Visit freshstartsregistry.com and become a Fresh Starts expert today.
Welcome to Simple Tips to Support Yourself, the podcast series that's here to help you master the art of adulting without losing your mind. Each episode will dive into simple, practical tips from the Fresh Starts experts on how to tackle life's daily obstacles with a little less chaos and a little more confidence. Whether it's figuring out finances, tackling that never-ending laundry pile, or even learning how to make a doctor's appointment without breaking into a cold sweat, we've got you covered. So grab your coffee and get ready to learn, laugh, and maybe even feel like you've got this whole being an adult thing under control. Let's do this together, because here at Fresh Starts, you never have to adult by yourself.
Hi, I am Jessica Addeo. I'm an occupational therapist and nervous system coach, and I help women learn how to manage their overwhelm and their stress using their nervous system and their body.
Amazing. Well, we have a great question for you today, Jess. So we get this question a lot, and I'm asking for a friend, also me, that we hear this term. This term is very buzzy right now, this nervous system regulation or dysregulation or all of these things. So what is nervous system regulation? And that being said, what are some really easy ways that you can regulate your nervous system? Just casually answer this question.
Perfect. Yes, the term is super buzzy right now. I would agree. And the most important thing to me for you to know is that nervous system regulation is not one singular state. So it is not being calm. Nervous system regulation is your capacity to go from stressed out to a little bit calm, to relaxing on the couch, to going to bed, to waking up, to figuring out what to do when your child is unexpectedly sick, and everything in between. So a regulated nervous system is one that can move in between different states with some ease. You wouldn't want to be calm all of the time, because then you wouldn't really get anything done, right? Like sometimes your fight flight should kick in when you are walking through the airport, going through security and trying to make sure, that your bags are getting scanned correctly and your children aren't running off with strangers and all those things. Your fight flight should be turned on, because that's going to make you more alert, more aware, and more able to handle that scenario. What happens, and I think what a lot of people are out there talking about, is that we don't know how to come back down. So now we stay in this escalated place and we sort of stay there like for years. And then one little thing happens and you kind of like explode or flip your lid, or you see some chronic health problems as a result of your nervous system perpetually thinking it's, running from a bear in the woods or fighting a bear in the woods. And the only other thing I would add to that definition before I go over into some tips is that there's fight flight, which we're all kind of familiar with because it's pretty forward facing, right? When you're angry, when you're slamming cabinets, snapping at a partner, trying really hard not to yell at your kids, but it's like literally in the back of your teeth, very fight flight. But there is also freeze and shutdown. And we cycle in and out of those as well. Freeze is like this deer in headlights. So where you're kind of like your mind is racing, but you feel like you can't do anything. And I just want to be clear, that's not a person being lazy or lacking motivation. It is a state in their nervous system, which will require a different tool than fight flight. And shutdown is also sort of on the back end, we would call it your dorsal vagal side of your nervous system. And again, it looks different than fight flight. So that's my not so casual definition because I can't help myself. But
No, I think that's great. Yeah.
and I think it's important for you to know is that these different states exist, right? And the number one thing you can do for yourself to quote unquote regulate your nervous system is to be aware of these states and to be aware of your body. It's a skill and a sensory system called interoception, which really just means like, do you know when you're hungry? Do you know when you have to pee? Do you know when you're cold? Do you know what your body feels like as you start to get angry, right? If you can recognize those thoughts, those feelings, and those physical manifestations of these different states, your nervous system is going to calm down because it's going to say, oh, she got the message. Instead of like you're climbing into fight flight, absolutely no awareness, just going about your business. And then it keeps sending the smoke alarm because you're not getting it. So that's where I start. Right?
That's super interesting. Wait, that you just like kind of blew my mind for a second because it's almost like we're running from ourselves, right? So
100%.
yeah, so like we are in our family, we use the animal running tigers. That's what we like say, invisible tigers.
Yeah.
So, but that you literally, I'm like, wait a second. So it's almost like when you can recognize those feelings as if they're strangers, right? Coming into your space.
Yeah.
Then that helps regulate you, opposed to almost if you cannot recognize them, they are really like a strange animal coming into your space and it will throw you into a dysregulated space.
100%. And so a tool that I use with clients is called attend and befriend. It's exactly what you just described, right? Like pay attention. Oh, when I have these thoughts, which maybe in fight flight, it's like this all or none thinking, right? Everything's awful. It's always terrible. It's never going to be better. When I have these feelings, a tightness in my throat, a tightness in my belly, a tightness in my jaw. And when I have these physical symptoms of like, I'm pacing and I'm talking with my hands, which can mean you're just Italian or can mean that you're in fight flight, right? But when I see all of these things, oh, that's my nervous system state called fight. Okay, I'm going to let that one be here for a little bit. I do want to move out of it, but step one is just allowing it to exist instead of trying to like numb it out with something external, which is what many of us tend to do before we understand this better.
It's so interesting because it really is an interrogation of your body, right? And your mindset and taking a little time, I would assume, to like pause and get to know yourself a little bit, which I think a lot of us weren't taught to do.
We definitely were not taught to do it. And even, I mean, I'm a parent of young kids and I have to work really hard to leave space for them in this way too, right? Like the first thing that happens when someone gets dysregulated or when you yourself are dysregulated is you're like, oh, well, how do I make it better? And yes, we do want to help your body release some of that activation, but that starts with attending and befriending to the fact that it's even happening. And then from there, because I am an occupational therapist and I love sensory input, that's where I start with people, right? Is your body getting what it needs to produce adequate coping chemicals? Is your body living in an environment or having exposure to environments where you're blowing beyond your sensory thresholds, meaning it's too loud, it's too bright, there's too much touch, right?
All of it, yeah.
All of it, exactly. Or do you have spaces where your brain can settle? This is so unique. It's like, I could never give a blanket statement, but beginning to understand the sensory input your body needs and the sensory thresholds that you want to do your best to respect, or at least allow recovery when you blow by them because life is lifing, that's going to give you the foundation to do what we just talked about. I can't attend to my fight state if my brain is like, nope, we're in full panic mode. She does not have any coping chemicals. It just won't let me go there. So I think those are really the top two things that if you can figure out what that looks like for you, you'll always be ping-ponging back and forth between them. It's never done.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to do it, you know how to do it forever.
I love that. Do you have any quick tip for just like grounding yourself?
Yeah. If you find yourself moving into a fight flight state, putting a little bit of cold on the back of your neck is really supportive in literally cooling down your brainstem. So if you resonated with that, like more forward facing dysregulation, try that. If you resonated with that, like I'm wired, but I can't quite get up and going, you're in a little bit of freeze. And I would say literally warm your body up. right? Get like warm and cozy. That can be warm and cozy going out in the sun. That can be warm and cozy getting under a blanket and drinking like, a room temperature or warm beverage. And I think either one of those, depending where you are in this, on the spectrum of regulation, could be supportive.
Amazing. And how do you work with people if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I need this support so badly?
Yeah, I have a program called Nervous System Mastery. It's a combination of one-to-one support, group support, self-paced learning, tools. Like I've really tried to address every type of learner there is, and I'm constantly adding to it for that reason. And the best way to find me is on my website. We'll jump on a strategy call and figure out if we're a good fit and what would work best for you.
Amazing. And you can always find Jessica at Fresh Starts Registry in the expert guide. We are so thankful for you and all of your tips. And I'm going to be thinking about this for the rest of the day. So thank you as always for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. A Fresh Story podcast is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the first and only platform for everything you need to begin again, from home items to Hype Team and everything in between. You can learn more and read today's show notes at afreshstory.com.
Are you a freelancer, solopreneur, writer, creative, or professional looking to achieve your goals within a supportive community? Have you found that working from home on your own gets lonely? That you're missing the accountability and community of a positive workplace environment? We understand. And we're so excited to introduce you to the Fresh Starts Collective. For just $35 per month, gain access to 6 daily offerings a week, including virtual co-working, open office hours for business coaching, accountability sessions, and networking opportunities. Enjoy expert workshops, monthly events, and an extensive content library. Connect with marketing, design, and writing professionals to brainstorm and grow together. Surround yourself with accountability, community, and growth. Elevate your journey with the Fresh Starts Collective for only $35 per month. Visit freshstartsregistry.com and join us today.